Peace, everybody. Welcome to Randomly Selected, powered by the Silver Room. My name is Mario. Thanks so much for checking us out. Tell your friends about Randomly Selected and make sure that they subscribe just like you did. On this edition, a very special edition of Randomly Selected, we welcome Ron Trent and Eric Williams. First, we talked to Ron about his new album. If you don't know, Ron Trent, wonderful DJ, amazing sound technician, great record producer. He has a brand new album out that we talk about in great detail. And he talks about the process involved in making this new album. Some of the folks that he worked with are going to blow your mind. Great cast of people. And also, we asked him about Bronzeville Winery, as he is the sound curator for the winery. And we asked, what was the process like putting together sound for Bronzeville Winery? This is a good one. There's a lot of details about Block Party and other stuff too in this one, so please don't leave. It's Randomly Selected, powered by the Silver Room. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Trent.
Well, I mean, this album is an album I wanted to do for probably the last, I would say last at least 25 years when the idea came to me. So it's more of a listening album. It's more of an audiophile listening album. You know, it's kind of built around, the idea of how it was back in the day, which, you put on a record and let the record play, nice, decent sound system, and, cast off to different spaces and places in your mind or in the city and that kind of thing. There's a lot of aspects of the album that are, based around structures that inspire, whether it be cityscapes, whether it be architecture, furniture, all kinds of stylized things, and so it's a music that's kind of it's designer music, if you will, but it's designed more or less to have the listener have imagination and cast out where they want to be. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of music today is so in your face. It's very deliberate and almost primal in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Everything is lower chakra oriented, shake your ass, do this, do that, and that, sure, I mean, I'm sure it has its place, but for me, being a music collector for so many years, and there's a lot of beautiful music that's out there, and we've been raised on a lot of beautiful music over the years, which has kind of brought us where we are today. Yeah. And I think that, it's not that I don't think it's lacking in a sense, because there's a lot of music out there. It just doesn't get to the people all the time because it's overshadowed by all these other things.
That's your intention with this project, to kind of just pierce that bubble, if you will?
For me, it's obviously spiritual and artistic mission. Not so much that it's, a revolutionary mission. Like, I need to go out here and do this and penetrate the market, show them the way. It's not like that. It's more of being able to, provide an option, if you will, for my people.
Who'd you work with on this?
So it's a wide range of folks. So you have Karungman, which we just spoke about.
Yeah. Just to shout out to Karungman, it took me at least a month to figure y'all name out. I love y'all though. I'm just saying, in case you're listening, which I think you will be.
Yeah, Karungman is
they're dope
on the project.
They're really good, man.
We have the likes of Azimuth, the original surviving members of Azimuth, because we have Alexis Morelos, who did Melt Into You with me, and Ivan Conti, which is the drummer from Azimuth, and Jose Beltrami, which was the original keyboard player from Azimuth. He's, let's say Ibaye, as we say. He's passed on to the next realm, but he was one of the biggest inspirations of my whole career, to be honest with you. And I had gained a relationship with them anyway over a period of time. And so when I got the opportunity to actually, put them on my album, I did that. And then we have the likes of John Lupanti, who is another iconic figure that, I grew up listening to. Sure. It's always been inspired by, the intelligence of the violin, the electric violin, and this kind of thing. And his sensibility and approach to music is, superb. Him and the likes of course, a Pat Metheny and that kind of thing. But, and I have Gigi Messine, who's a new age artist, Italian new age artist from the '80s, actually on the album, and we did a straight up collaboration. He sent me a track, and I built on top of it. It kind of comes off as a combination of John Hassel, which is another new age artist that's passed away, and a Santana record. You know. So, and then there's a newcomer by the name of Venencia, who somebody else producing. And I thought that this tune would be, you know, a great addition and a great exposure measure for her career and that kind of thing. So, and she does this tune called Flowers on there. And the rest is me. You know, it's like a 15-track album. And so when I say the rest is me, I mean mainly I played all the instruments on it, guitar, the drums, the percussion. It's kind of like almost an album where I'm putting all my skill sets into play, the engineering to the musicianship. And this is something that the people that have followed me over the years haven't gotten a chance to see fully. I mean, they've gotten pieces of it when I've done remixes or some of my productions that have been more dance-oriented. Mm-hmm. But this is more the alternative third ear sound version of Ron Trent in
Look
a
at
sense.
that. The third ear sound.
Exactly.
Word.
That's the psychic sound.
Yes, sir.
You know, you have the ears, 1, 2, and you have the third one, which is the body and the spirit listening.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, definitely a change, but not a change, because if you would hear me play long sets, or if I'm playing 9 to 12 hours or something like that in Japan, I play this kind of stuff anyway. But I've never gotten a chance to actually produce an album that's comprehensive that kind of tells this story.
Had that conversation with Twilight Tone, where he talks about when he plays in New York, he plays these 9, 12-hour gigs. That has to be exhausting.
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
No break?
You kind of pace yourself. Yeah. But more or less, I mean, that's kind of like the old school way of doing it.
True.
You know, where you would have one DJ that plays all night, programs a night in a way, and takes you on a journey, versus it being kind of like hit it and quit it, hot mix, boom, boom, boom,
Set
kind of
thing.
Different approach.
Yeah.
Different energy, different, you know, whole different scope, you know.
Can I tell you about one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do? I don't think I've ever had this conversation with you or Eric. And we'll jump back into more of the music stuff. Sure. But I gotta say it because it's on my mind now. The most difficult thing as a host that I've ever had to do was when I had to tell you.
I know what you're gonna say too.
I can only let you play for 10 minutes, bro. At the end of that set, when you played, this Asian gentleman walked up to me and he said, "Do you know who that was?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Ron." He's like, 10 minutes? And walked away. And it was the hardest. It has been sitting with me since that night. Yeah, I can't wait until Block Party. I am so... Oh, my God. Because it was a confluence of a million things happening. And when I said that to you, you looked at me and you went, all right.
I mean, at that point.
I mean, because what could you do? But I just wanted to tell you that has bothered every show I do. In the back of my head, I go, man, you told Ron Trent he only had
it was my brother's fault, man.
10
you know,
minutes. Here we go. We'll get into that later. There was a lot of extenuating circumstances that day.
You know,
the whole day.
I get it.
But I just wanted to let you know that I love you, and it bothered me.
Come on, Mario.
To do that.
Oh, Mario.
You the album before this one was another expansive kind of piece of work for you. Is this the track that you're about to be on? Is this more of with that last album and this one?
So yeah, I did this album called Cinematic Travels, right? Which was more. I recorded it out in Los Angeles at my friend's studio out there. He's actually a famous actor. He had a basically a $500,000 studio in the crib. And, you know, that he never really used. He was always on set and that kind of thing. He's actually on the album, too.
Who is it?
My man, Gary Durden.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
From CSI.
Yeah.
That's
nice.
one of my homeboys. And he lived in Venice at the time. Gary originally is a musician. He's a musician that got into acting to pay for his
his music.
Sweet. That's what happened.
Sweet.
And so when he blew up with CSI and everything, he built out a whole big studio and that kind of thing. So, I would spend long periods of time out in Los Angeles, hanging out with him, and we would make music and this kind of thing. So on downtime, I was like experimenting with the idea of creating like this different type of experimental album, more of a listening album, that kind of thing. And it was the ideas for it to be a band, because this is a band. This is me producing, conceptually producing in the studio, but going to present it on, kind of a stage, live stage forum, that kind of thing. The first iteration of that was Cinematic Travels. And so we started, I started in that direction and just playing with the idea and the concept of it. And, never got a chance to really actualize it. I put it out. People loved it. But I didn't get a chance to follow up and go through it in a way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
So time takes care of all things. So, I was able to, obviously, unfortunately, as we sit through this pandemic, it gave me time to actually pick up another instrument, which is guitar.
How many instruments you play? And how am I just finding this out today?
See, this is things that people don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I grew up playing percussion.
I did know that.
My father.
That I knew.
Yeah. So I played percussion. I played traps with the drum set. I played keys, and other various types of percussion. And now I play guitar.
You can tell when a brother's serious because his voice go up. Did you hear how high my voice went? I really like word.
Yeah.
How long have you known Eric?
Oh man, it might be close to 30 years.
1991 or 2.
Yeah, it's got to be 91 probably.
Yeah, 91, 92.
That's wild. So
yeah. I know it's wild because when you sit around, you look at
I know.
wow, what the hell?
What people don't know is that the two of y'all are like two of the funniest people that I know, and y'all are together. It's showtime. I do know most people do know that they live in Chicago. They've had a chance to see that live and up close.
No, we didn't seen and battled.
We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When he approached you about the winery, about Bronzeville Winery, and you were. Not in a bad way. A worldly brother. You travel. You're always. You like, hey, I'm home for a minute. Oh, Ron Trent, what's up? Hey, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to the moon. Oh, great.
The moon.
See you on the moon. When he approached you about Bronzeville Winery and helping to create what is a lovely sound in that place.
Sure.
How did that conversation begin?
Well, I think it really just came out. It's funny because with Brother Eric and I, we're normally on the same wavelength on certain things.
Here we go
We're
again.
picking from the same basket. And so I had just had a conversation. It's funny. I never told you. I was talking to my now ex-wife. I can just talk about it. And I'm talking to him on the couch. I'm playing music at the house. And I'm like, we need a place where we can go and listen to music. And be, and sit down and chill and have a conversation and listen to dope music in a, nice, upscale, not so much upscale, but a sophisticated situation.
Yeah.
Where people can appreciate the music and just be in an environment and, so that happened. And then this brother calls me a couple months later. Yeah, I want to build this this place, da-da-da-da-da. And I had already kind of been familiar with this kind of thing because in Japan, audiophile lounges, hi-fi lounges are big there. Little Tokyo Cafe, which is it Little Tokyo Cafe or is it Little? I can't think of the name actually off top, but it's a place that I would go in it's not in Shibuya, but it's in Tokyo proper. It's right outside the city a little bit. And it's a guy that had this guy, wow, his record collection is such that, hey, do you have blah, blah, blah? And I would think of some of the rarest fucking records that I had that I might want to hear at that time. Oh, so, yeah. and he would go and get the mother, right?
Wow.
And it'd be like, wow. So it's set up more like a speakeasy almost. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one guy. He's serving the drinks, he's giving you the peanuts, and he's serving you the jams.
Nice.
And I've been going to this place, man, for about maybe 15 years or something like that. And it was one of my favorite things to do when I would go in Tokyo. Like, it would be like, after I did my tour, it would be the place I would like to go and just chill out. And at that time I was drinking cocktails. So, and you just sit on the bar stool and be grown for a little while and just listen to some dope music.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I had seen the culture kind of grow in Japan, but hadn't really seen it here. Mm-hmm. First people that I saw kind of started trying to do that was Public Records in Brooklyn, where they had a listening space and integrating sound as a part of the appetite.
Right.
And so for us to be able to, this culture is being developed here now. People are like really catching on. But the idea of being able to do that here in Chicago, it was, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Mm. You know what I mean?
We asked Ron and Eric how the music plays a role in the overall vibe of Bronzeville Winery and the process it took to make that happen. Also, we talk about Bronzeville Winery. It's a cool place. You should check it out. Here's more with Ron and Eric on Randomly Selected.
Well, all the senses are being satisfied.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's important. And, you are what you eat, right? So, good music, good food, good things, you know what I'm saying?
I can't stand either.
We can take that a lot of different places. But the thing is that, you are what you eat. You are what you put into your body, what you listen to, all these kind of things. And, I think that, obviously sound kind of gets left out of the picture in a certain sense, especially when it comes to restaurants or it comes to even sound systems in clubs. Because, people open places that, go along with the curtains and the furniture.
Right.
And that's what they're more, concerned about versus the sonics. And the sonics is everything.
Yeah.
It always has been everything. So when it's done properly, it has the ability to move things in a different kind of way, create a different vibration, et cetera, et cetera. And so introducing that back to the people right in the neighborhood, it's a good way. So, my man provided the opportunity. It's a skill set that I have because I've built, systems before, and I have a team. I'm more of a consultant. Mm-hmm. I know how things work because I know how to work them. I've been, where I come from as a DJ, we didn't just, come in with records and da-da-da. We really were into the idea of that this sound that I'm creating or that I'm a part of has different parts to it.
Right.
Yeah, so, building sound. I mean, so what I was saying is that there's parts. There's me who's channeling it. There's this equipment that I'm using, which is the technology, and then there's the people. And you're using that as like a tuning fork. You're using that as an antenna to make the thing happen. So you need to know what you're doing. And that means knowing components. That means knowing the sonics, knowing what the sonics does to the people, et cetera, et cetera. And so, that's a skill set that, and an ethos of where I come from. And it was, that's what it was about. It's like you really got into what your craft was versus being somebody who stands up there and just playing music for people all the time.
Right.
And nodding your head and putting up hearts and shit and doing, acting like it's a show. Very good. There you go.
This is going down today. That one's going to stay in because that was a good one. That was a confirmation about what you were saying.
Right.
That's
boom.
Fair.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in folks from on the nights that you happen to be there, or for you as well? But when they walk in, they may have a certain kind of, it's been a terrible day, and then they start to hear that music and get a whiff of that food. And
what I noticed, which is what I knew was going to happen, people don't want to get up from the table. He has a problem with turnover with people wanting to leave.
They just want to
stay there.
Mm.
And that's because of the environment.
It's a good thing,
but
it's a good thing and a bad thing. But that's a good thing that people feel that comfortable there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good thing. Wow,
yeah.
You did it.
So it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Our thing is that what we've been trying to figure out is how to, have a situation where people come and eat and have nights when they eat, and maybe having another night where people just come in and enjoy the music and just can kind of be, because it's turned into more of a destination spot versus it being like, get in here. Get this watermelon steak.
Chow down.
Get out of here. Right. It's more like, I want to be here.
Right.
You know, and that is musical massage, as Leon Ware said.
That's actually
cool. But it's that's what I've seen. That's my observation. He can probably tell you more.
Yeah, can you expound on that from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, he's exactly right. Even when it's my guy from many, many years ago, as he said, it's been 30 years, something like that. Yeah. And even when it comes to music and sound, there's no one in the world who I think connect like we do. When I can say something to him, I know he already gets it, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So that's the part that to me is very comfortable because we've traveled the world together. I've probably seen you DJ in more cities than probably anybody. From Miami, LA, Tokyo, New York, blah blah blah. And we spent time in Japan together, in London. So it's like there's a lot of things that he understands. I know he understands. So there's no explanation. So when it came to this, it was very easy for me to say what we were trying to do. And to Ron's point, yes, the food and wine were very, very important. But I wanted to add this other component of the sound, which people don't think about really. Right. And it's not a cheap thing to do. And people would say it's not necessary, but to me it was necessary to add this component. And to his point, people come in and they're surprised, or sometimes you don't even think about it. And that was another day, and this guy was there with his wife. They were just sitting there and talking. I saw him like doing like this. I saw him like looking up because there's tiling, acoustical panels in the ceiling. Yeah. And I saw him like look back at the speakers. And I could tell he was really engaging with the sound. I went over to him. I said, "Man, what do you think?" He's like, "Man, y'all put a sound system in this wine bar." Yeah. He's like, "Man, he's like," I was like telling my wife, like, "This ain't regular. This is not normal." I was like, so I was explaining to him the philosophy behind what we were trying to do, and trying to, like you said, add another component, to the senses. Of course, you're eating, you're drinking, it smells good, blah blah. But this thing you listen to is always kind of forgotten about. So that was the point behind it.
And that's kind of what you wanted to do at Square One.
Yeah, and that was 20 years ago. Yeah, exactly.
I still want to go to Square One. I still look for it when I'm in Wicker Park, knowing
a Square One sticker.
Full and doggone well. Oh, yes, I got one at home.
Yeah.
Full and doggone well ain't no Square One no more. But I remember that as being a place where you would go in and be, and you had that same like, this is dope. Let me just be for a minute. I can recalibrate,
right.
Which is rare to be able to do that in a place in public, where you're able to.
And Eric is great at creating these kind of situations, And let me say this too. It's important to say this. I think that a lot of people look at what we're doing and they think maybe we've just happened upon these things. We've tried these things out. We've experimented. We put our money behind it.
Yeah,
you understand? Yeah. We've fallen, broken hips or whatever you want to call it, got up, healed, and moved on. And that's why we're able to, in our next iterations or whatever the case may be, present something that's more refined, or whatever the case may be, that people accept because we've gone through it.
Yeah,
you took the failure, quote unquote failure, and didn't look at it as a bad thing. It was
we've gone through the processes.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just this happened. Yeah, no, we've done work, experimentation, money, work, experimentation. Till we get to this point where we have a product. So there's hard work that goes into this, and that's just what I think that younger folks need to understand too, especially in today's culture where it's microwave and immediate and social media, whatever the case may be, but then there's no foundation. Mm-hmm. It's important for people to understand that hard work is what goes into making most or any success happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, very important to say.
Sure.
So.
And the other thing is too is, again, I want to speak about Ron. I think one thing we first connected on is, Ron obviously is a collector of music. I think when I went to his house the first time, he had a ton of books. And Ron is an avid reader. And so we connected on that. Mm. And so we started sharing books, and he gave me a book. I think one of the books you gave me was, what was it called? About music, the history of music. And I'm reading about the phonograph and how radio started and, sonics throughout the history of the disco era, pre-disco era, how that started. And I'm like geeking out on that. So we geeking out on like the history of books. So another thing we connected on was like just research and history and understanding the lineage of how we got to where we're at. And that's a lost craft art that you don't even think about. So whenever I think about anything that I do, I have to go back first and say who did it before, how they did it, how they do it, who did it best, and then you kind of start. Yeah. So that's kind of another connection that we have. It's like we know that we didn't just start doing it, something came before us. Yeah. And let's figure out who did it the right way, who did the wrong way, and contemporize that, And that was kind of the point of actually the wine bar too, because a lot of elements, for those who remember Square One, the elements are there a little bit here and there, but they're a 2022 version of a 2001 space.
Right.
Lessons that I learned 20 years ago that didn't work. Okay, now I know. Let's do this differently. So history is my favorite thing. It's the most important thing. Everything I do right now really comes from like historical context.
This portion of the show, we talk about the history of the Silver Room Sound System Block Party, and there aren't two people alive that can tell you better than Ron Trent and Eric Williams. And the reason why is because they co-created the Block Party. We also ask about the human connection that is required for events like this to really go off. Not social media stuff, actual, hey, what's up, brother? Hey, sister, how you been? Human connection. And we ask how they feel about this new block party that's coming up July 16th and 17th, the 2022 version of the Silver Room Block Party. Let's get their thoughts. This is going to be good. It's Ron Trent and Eric Williams on Randomly Selected.
When we were closed for 3 months, during the heat of the pandemic, and everyone was at home and doing Zoom and virtual this and virtual that, I saw people crave human contact even more so.
Yeah.
So I think even more so people, when you do it authentically, the tech stuff, I get it, take a picture, post it. That's here. But the human connection can never be replaced.
Right.
Then when you do it the right way, it's even a stronger commitment to that. And I think that's what the block party has done. That's what the store has done. That's what the restaurant's done. That's what something that music does. Yeah. And when it's done the right way, it feels good.
Speaking of human connection, the Silver Room Sound System Block Party started out in an alley.
Yeah.
Not unlike the way hip hop started on a corner of a street in a building. And I don't think that the two of you have had a conversation where you all were together, recorded one anyway. I don't think. I mean, I'm over 17 of these. One of them has to have been with the both of you talking about it. But let's assume it wasn't. Right now, I want to hear from both of you the history of how this gigantic thing began in an alley.
Well, it wasn't gigantic. It was 2002, I believe.
That sounds about
or 3, can't remember.
Right. Yeah,
but I do remember I had just closed Square One. And Square One closed in 2002, so it had to be 2003. Mm-hmm. And I was, not feeling good. I had lost a ton of money, and you start this business, have this idea, and it just didn't work out. And I went back to Silver Room, back on Milwaukee Avenue, and I never told you this story actually. It was inspired by a city in Germany. I was in Cologne or Frankfurt, or both, and they had this event called the Night of the Museums, so something like museums. They still do it actually in Europe. So these museums will have celebrations, and they'll all will sponsor like an artistic or creative endeavor, a cultural endeavor. And I remember walking, in this it was along the river, and it was like this Jamaican band was playing, and then I walk and like a Polish food stand was playing, Polish food, and then it was like some dude from London doing something, and there was like this Russian guy doing something. Then somebody was from Mozambique. It was kind of all over the place. Mm-hmm. I'm but it was dope. This is actually kind of cool that it's different kinds of food, different kinds of music. When you think about a lot of festivals, they're, a rock festival or a hip hop festival or whatever it is, and we've always been to everything. So I I grew up listening to rock music, hip hop, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, I wanted something that's really kind of shows expression of different kind of things. And also what it did, it brings different kind of folks together. Because if it's just a Polish fest, it's going to be most just Polish people. If it's just a Ghanaian festival, you're going to have just but what if you did different things that bring different kind of people together? So that was actually the first inspiration, was this event I went to in Germany. Then fast forward, I think when you had moved back, so Ron moved back from New York after 9/11, he was staying with me for a while, for about a year, right?
Yeah.
And so we lived on Milwaukee Avenue, above the original Silver Room,
right.
And it was a little small alley. And I remember I didn't have any money at all, and I was like, I want to do a little block party in this little alley. It was a super, super small alley. And I remember talking to the alderman about it, and he was like, that's an alley. I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool, go ahead and do it,
Right.
And I had $0, and we had bought a sound system together when I had Square One. So we had the sound system. That was actually a decent sound system.
Decent, it was the shit.
It was, so we had this. We had a good sound system that I think I had stored it in the back of this somewhere. So we So we literally pulled this sound system out that we had. We didn't have a stage. We took some cinder blocks.
Yep.
You remember that? Went to some cinder blocks
right.
and then some wood, and that was the stage. I went to Home Depot, bought some extension cords, and I plugged into my house because I lived above the alley, and ran orange extension cords into the alley. That was
And
the
the
power.
store we had. We going from
In the
alley
store
and
too.
The store?
Yeah, in the store. We ran extension cords out, and then I mean, I was really called some friends up. Jesse De La Pena, I think, played the first one. Pevin Everett was in town. Eric Roberson.
Wow.
Because Change for Me had just come out. And he happened to come by the store, and I'm like, man, I'm having an event in this alley. You want to play? He was like, all right, cool. I said, I ain't got no money. He's like, oh, don't worry about it.
Nice.
I actually gave him like a little leather bracelet. Never forget that. Ron played, and Papa G and some other folks, and that was it. It was literally maybe 100 people came the entire day. The entire day. And it was fun. Slang, I think, was doing graffiti on the wall the first year, second year.
That might have been the second year.
That was the second year.
So I missed the first two.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And then the
second year
second year, Cool Herc played.
That's what I was gonna say. It was Cool Herc.
Cool Herc came.
So with you guys don't know, Tina, our friend Tina Howe. Tina M. Howe walks up to me after Block Party, and she goes, "I had to tell you something. You missed it." I'm like, "What did I miss?" She's like, "Ron and Eric threw a party." I'm like, "Damn, but I catch a Ron Trent party." She's like, "No, you don't understand. You got to come to the next one." And I missed the second one. And she came back to me again. She's like, "Dude, are you okay?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You got to come to Block Party. You got to see
Well,
it."
the first two were in the alley.
Right.
And then I moved down the street
Down
for
the
the
street
next
to-
4 or 5, a little bit bigger. But, again, I think, it was the spirit of an actual Block Party, which is why I actually had Cool Herc, had to do the second one.
Right.
Because he's Cool Herc,
Right.
And
Same
so,
word.
I tell people today about these expenses. I say, for electrical, the first year cost me $0. This year's $50,000 or $80,000 for generators. I mean, just think about that one expense,
Right.
So it's kind of grown, and people had a good time, and they came back. They told 2 friends, and it just grew and grew and grew. But it was never really meant to be that.
I know that, and I know we're up against it. Save Money. Nobody knew who Chance the Rapper was unless you knew him. And Save Money got up on stage, and that might have been their first big public appearance at Block Party. And we all kind of looked at each other like, all this cursing these young people doing. What is going on? It's Chance.
Right.
It's mind blowing now because Chancellor is the man, and it's
Right,
like
right.
seeing what the type of man he's become. But remembering that day of me going, all right, y'all, Save Money. I didn't know who Save Money was, and it's Chance and all the
Save
brothers.
Money.
Save Money,
Yeah. Save Money crew.
Save Money. Block Party 2022 is coming up. Back together again. Got the world in a spin. It's going down. Oakwood Beach. With the best backdrop ever, the city skyline. How you feeling about the 2022 Block Party?
I mean, at this point, I'm looking forward to it. We just, we've done it for so long. We just want to make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As you said, man, we started off humble, super humble with this thing, and it's evolved and turned into, so many iterations of it. So many things have happened. People have engaged with it. Now it's become a force. You know what I mean? Based upon an idea, which is beautiful. But there's a lot of energy and things that went into planting the seeds to make these things happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see the community come out and support. He'll tell you, for many years, I'm like, look, we got to get people to pay.
Yeah.
Well,
and, and he'll tell you, we've always gone back and I'll be like, man, you got to, and he's like, yo, but it's not necessarily what I want to do in this kind of way, and we don't set. And my thing is this community, for instance, that we're in right now. I grew up in this community.
Right.
I grew up right down the street on 51st in Indiana.
Yeah.
I used to come over here on this block right here with my father. Okay, when there was nothing. I've watched this neighborhood go through so many things where there was nothing here, zero. There used to be an aquarium store.
That's right.
And Yellow Mellow
That's
across
right.
the street. And that was the big feature. And when I was spending weekends with my pops, we would walk down here and whatever. And I've seen this community develop. And the only way you really build a community is by putting economics into the situation, which means people need to pay for what they're getting. Otherwise, sometimes they don't appreciate it. Okay? And so my thing is now that it's a situation where people are paying and this kind of thing. And I'm loving it. okay? Because people appreciate it on a certain level. All the painstaking stuff and the caring and the worrying, stress that goes into creating this stuff, if it's not a reciprocation, you can't expect this thing to happen.
Right.
I am outsiders. I'm a Babala. I'm a priest. Okay, so it's all I understand that there has to be an exchange. That's what we do.
Right.
And so when it's not, eventually the ashe or whatever the case may be, it will fizzle out. You have to put back into the earth. You got to give back to the earth. You got to get back to the situation. And so my thing has always been, there has to be sacrifice, but there also needs to be energy coming back in. And so that's what if you ask me, that's what I'm happy about at this time. Now people will pay.
Well, here's the thing is too, a lot of people don't know, I don't want to, Ron would just be doing this for me. I wasn't getting his fee, which is
a fee,
a real thing.
Yeah.
We were just doing this together.
Yeah.
And so my thought was okay, I'll put up, the first year literally was probably $500, right? And the thought was that I'll put up a little bit of money, then my friends will come and they'll volunteer their time and their talent, and then the people will come and they'll hopefully donate a little bit of money and we'll all be happy, right? That was the first idea. $500, no big deal. You move to the second year, that's a couple $1,000s. By the third or fourth year, it was in the thousands, and I was trying to justify it by saying, well, my store is busy and it's good marketing for me. Mm-hmm. Now you talking about 10 years in, when we moved down here, now you're talking about 50, 100. Last time we did it was several hundred thousands of dollars. Now I can't justify that as a marketing expense. Right. Now I'm trying to get sponsors, and because we were doing it on a public street, you can't technically ask for a ticket. You can't get tickets.
Right. You ask for donations. Right.
So I spent months and months and months asking for donations that, for the most part, it didn't really work out. Some people did. A lot of people didn't. And I think the final straw was that, this past year, just trying to, and not just the money, just the hours and hours that, Ron and Ken Pickett and Rob McKay and Susan, I mean, we spend so many hours volunteering our time. And you ask somebody for $10 and they look at you like you're crazy. It was basically got to be hurtful for me. And I'm the one that's not the time, but also losing tons of money. Right. Tons of money. Then you talk to people about it, and they somehow think that I made money somehow. I'm like, how did you pay?
Well, this is the thing, and I just know from being a businessman, I've owned my own labels, I've dealt with people, I have to deal with people all the time. Is that once again, people don't appreciate things that they don't have to pay for sometimes.
That's a fact.
Well, then,
it's not, and it's
I get what you're saying.
It's just what it is. Yeah. I mean, you have, for instance, Eric has a jewelry store. He's not giving it away for free. Mm-hmm. That's why it's called jewelry, right? So the thing is that you appreciate it because, and we like finer things. We do. Yeah. We talk about this all the time. Right. Fashion, all this kind of stuff. Part of the reason why we appreciated fashion and all the things we appreciate is because, there was a price tag on it, right? And that kind of thing, and it was not attainable. It was kind of rare. That kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? And so, if you're out and you're just giving things to people and they're like, yeah, you're great, you're the best, yeah, right? And then when you out there shredded, you get holes in your pants and you where they at? Yeah. Right?
Well, the other thing is too is people just don't even think about how these things happen. That's the thing. Even today, now people will ask, well, why is there a fee? And my question is, and I'll say that, well, a better question is, how was it not a fee before? How do you think it was being paid for? And they look up in the air, and I don't even know. I didn't think about that.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll say, well, actually, I was paying for a lot of it out of my pocket. Oh, I had no idea. So you have a lot of that. A lot of people they literally just didn't even think about it. And I say, this event, we putting up $1 million. Well, I'm going to spend $1 million. Can you put up 40, 50? That's the way I look at it. I'm taking a risk in many ways, putting up $1 million. I'm asking you all to put up $50 for an event that is fun. It's good. Yeah, then have people say, it's not like you don't know.
Right.
And you become for 16 years. The other way I look at it is, if you come to the event, I would ask you this question to you. Was that time you had, when you come all these years, was that worth the 40 or $50? They all say yes. So why would this not worth be $40, $50 this time? Well, I didn't pay before. Well, you got 16 years of free. Now we're asking you to kind of chip in. So that's kind of how I look at it. Yeah. And we've sold a ton of tickets, so it was going to be sold out. It's going to be good. For those who don't, most people get it. Most people get it. So, I'm excited about this one probably as much as I was the first and second one. I feel like it's like you're gonna kind of flush out some things. You know, it's like a reboot. You know, some of the folks that maybe don't need to be there won't be there. The ones who really really want to be there will be there. And I think the energy and the spirit of what the block party is, I'll feel that again. Because the last few years it kind of got because anybody can come. I mean, anybody can come. I mean, everybody can come. But everything ain't for everybody. So this is like you have to make a concerted effort, and now there's a buy-in for you to be there. Now the energy is going to be way, way better. So I'm looking forward to for that reason. And like I said, I can pay some of the artists, and pay almost all the artists now. Before it was like my friends. If I had to pay the artists before, I couldn't have done it. And again, I think people don't see that. They say, "Oh, support artists." Well, if you want to support artists, you have to support the festival so we can support the artists. So people have to kind of be people of their word
economic
too.
Infrastructure. Otherwise, it does not work. And there's no village in the world that has survived of just straight community service.
Exactly.
There's nothing. It's not possible. So the thing is that you have to, if you want to get, you have to give. You got to sacrifice the money so that you can have a good time. What's wrong with that? You're
going to
do it anyway.
Sacrifice, Ron.
No, it is. It is.
No, here, let me be quite honest. People I know, they have the money. It's not about they don't have the money. It's the principle of it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the money, if you seriously said you didn't have $50, email me and I'll literally give you a ticket. If you give me a real hardship reason why, like in college, you write a hardship letter. if you really don't have the $50, man, I completely understand. You know what? Yeah. But that's not these people.
Work something. No, I'm working off the concept.
What these people are, they just don't want to.
I'm working off the concept of what I understand that the ancients understood, which is, okay?
Village economics.
Which is,
right.
Everything comes with a sacrifice.
Right.
There's a part in Odu, as we speak in the Yoruba culture, that speaks about if you do not sacrifice, then the sacrifice will come out of your hide. Okay? So there has to be sacrifices, constant exchange. You exchange money to get food. You exchange that food to sacrifice to your body. Okay? You see what I'm saying? There always has to be, you sacrifice money, you sacrifice the breath that goes in and out of your body. There's constant exchange. So why doesn't this work when it comes to other things? Everybody with their hand out. You can't be like that. It doesn't work like that. And it eventually it peters out, right? Because once again, the sacrifice is going to come out of your hide.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So at some point. Now, if you're going to stand there and be, let vampires suck on your blood, okay, then
let it be.
No, I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying in terms of just how things have to operate. It's just you can't do it. Wheels have to go on a car. There has to be motor. You have to sacrifice money for that, so the car moves or whatever the case may be. Your feet, you know what I mean? You got to put shoes on them. You're going to bust your feet. You have to constantly exchange. There's always this thing going on. So I don't understand this concept of like what somebody's supposed to stand up and be, I'm sorry, with your Jesus all the time.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah. No, man. It's
well, like for real. Like what are we talking about?
That's
here?
it.
So
at the end of the day,
put back in so that you can get. And then when you shop in your neighborhood, for instance, you build the economics up in your neighborhood, right? You're shopping because you build. That's why Hyde Park is happening right now.
Right. Real quick, what are you guys looking forward to at this block party, as opposed to the other ones?
Well, for me, looking forward to seeing the kids play again. That's always my favorite part of it. Body and Soul, first time in Chicago.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of
that's probably
that's gonna be
outside. That's musically outside of Ron. I would say that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah. Because I've seen those brothers get down plenty of times. Yeah. And just, the up and comers. Like I try and, we do a lot. It's done intentionally. The 4 stages, the 2 DJ stages. It's done for 2 reasons. Number one, we had almost 300 people submitted to perform. I try and get as many people on as we can. Different genres of music, house music, R&B, hip hop, jazz, you name it. I try and kind of sprinkle different kind of music around. Also, it creates this like energy of like moving around, So it's not just one thing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna hit this out. Now I'm gonna go check them out. So it kind of forces you to walk a lot, which is a whole other thing that I think about us movement, and not just having one kind of music and one stage, because then you'll just be at this one stage. Right. We intentionally kind of force you to kind of move around. So just the movement of the people, smiling faces, back together again, people being happy. I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Ryan?
For me, music. People, togetherness, family. Because our situation, because it was on the street and we had a collective force of people coming out, you know, it was always, you know, young and old together. You know what I mean? Not very, you know, oriented around age, gender, that kind of thing. It was very mixed, very diverse. And I look forward to that because it's in that diversity that progress actually happens.
Yeah. Especially in our community, you know, one thing I want to say real quick. People ask me about a VIP tickets, and there is no VIP. And I'm very clear about that because I think the experience itself is a VIP experience, you know. And I don't want to have I'm trying to stay true to the first vision of what we started with the actual block party. A block party on your street, you bring everybody together. No matter how much money you got, no matter how old you are, the kids can play, the old ladies, blah, 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 everyone's together. And so the VIP thing for me will kind of help to separate. And we already have too much separation in the community. So I feel like, you know what, this is the one day, no matter how much money you guess what the dance floor does. No matter how much money you got or how little you have, the dance floor is this common denominator. So that's why there is no VIP experience. The VIP experience is you come into the block party. That's it. I think that's more than enough. So that's why there is no VIP tickets.
The 17th, Silver Room, Sound System, Block
16th
Party.
and 17th.
On July 16th and 17th.
That's
so
true.
It will be the 17th and 18th. It's 2 days. We've been gone for a while and giving everybody a chance to reconvene and get together and see each other and have these conversations and reconnect our village in this city where it is a lot going on. This is one of those days where people get together and they're able to be. And it's a beautiful thing. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, today is July 1st. It may not be July 1st when you listen to this. It might be July 13th. SilverRoomBlockParty.com. Get your ticket before it's too late. You're going to have a great time. I promise you, I owe Malik Youssef like a steak dinner or something, because if he shows up for that block party, I don't know if I'll host another block party. And I've been hosting them ever since the day Malik didn't show up and I stayed up there for 12 hours. One of the best times in my life. Ron, Eric, thank you. I owe you a really good introduction, and I'm not saying anything else while you spin this year. I'm walking away. I'm going to give you, take it, burn that place down. Thanks, fellas. I'm really excited about Block Party, man. Cannot wait. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right now. Brother man.
We sincerely like to thank Ron, Trent, and Eric Williams for being on Randomly Selected today. We also hope that you've gotten your tickets for the Silver Room Sound System Block Party. If you have not yet, go to silverroomblockparty.com and get those tickets today. On the next episode of Randomly Selected, we welcome in 4th Ward Alderman Sophia King and her husband, Chosen Few DJ Alan King. See you guys next time. Peace.